By the way, Rocket Man should have been handled a long time ago. He should have been handled a long time ago by Clinton. I won't mention the Republicans, right? But by Obama. This is a different time.
President Trump calling out Kim Jong-un after the North Korean dictator threatened to detonate a hydrogen bomb. So if he follows through on these threats, what should we expect? Here to discuss it, former Green Beret commander, advisor to Vice President Dick Cheney, and Fox News contributor Lieutenant Colonel Michael Waltz. Colonel, what say you? Is it time to finally act? It's been more than 22 missile tests since the beginning of the year. Is it time to do something?
Well, exploding a nuclear-tipped missile over the Pacific Ocean could be a logical final step for the North Korean regime to demonstrate its capability and to demonstrate that it has been able to load and miniaturize a warhead onto an ICBM and actually get it, kind of fully functional. That comes with a lot of risks for the North Korean regime. I think it could be a final straw for China, and I think it could be a final straw for the international community to demand regime change. But they could do it.
So if you are South Korea or Japan, our allies, where missiles have literally been flying over their heads, what are they thinking this morning?
So a couple of things. The South Koreans are in discussions with the United States about reintroducing tactical nuclear weapons back into the South Korean peninsula. The Japanese are relooking their constitution, which prevents them from having offensive military capabilities and actually making that massive change in their society so that they could go on the offense. Really, who we need to be talking to this morning is China. China has the ability to choke the North Korean regime off economically if it wanted to. It made a huge step this week with telling its banking system to clamp down on the regime and to no longer do business. But now they have to follow through. China has a history and a habit of kind of dialing things up when international pressure dials up, and then when we shift away or attention diverts, then they kind of go back to their same old ways.
And Colonel, very quickly, you advised Vice President Cheney. So what do you think about the president's speech to the UN? He said he would totally destroy North Korea. Was that the right move? What was your take on his appearance at the UN?
I do wish that he had made the distinction between the North Korean regime and the North Korean people. Those people are suffering horribly under Kim Jong-un and his father and grandfather. That said, I'm fine with the tough talk. The calculus has to change in the region. Right now, from China's perspective, and I think that's who he was talking to much more than he was talking to North Korea, that, right now, from China's perspective, this is our problem. This is a South Korean problem. It's a Japanese problem. It's not theirs. Now we're making it their problem, both through secondary sanctions, which means we are targeting Chinese entities that are doing business with North Korea, and by changing the security dynamic, like I just mentioned, where their old rivals, the Japanese, are now going on the offense.
Lastly, yes or no, Colonel, is the hydrogen bomb test the red line now?
Well, I think that would be unprecedented. It hasn't happened, actually, since the 1980s with the Chinese, but they did it over land. But to do it over international waters, in addition to having a lot of dead fish, it would be so hugely provocative that I think it could finally change that calculus that I was talking about.
Thank you, Colonel Michael Waltz. Appreciate your time.